This is Cooking Customers by Good Enough Games. Plays 2 to 5 players, takes about 20 to 40 minutes to play, and it says ages 14 and up, but younger players can also get into it as well. The goal of the game is simple. You want to be the first player to amass $20 in tips from serving tables meals. You earn meals very simply, and I'll show you that stuff in a minute. First, let's take a look at some of the kind of cards you can play. On your turn, you'll play 2 cards, one on yourself, one on your opponent. You can't play both on yourself or both on your opponent, or just 1 card, period. And if you don't want to play any cards, you can also just discard to the discard pile. After you play, you'll draw back up to 5, and then you'll draw a table card. 1 table card in play at a time, 1 cook in play at a time. So some of the cards you can play on yourself include things like the kitchen supplies, which prevent cards that have these symbols on them. Those cards will be cards that will hinder your rolls and lessen the number of dice you can roll. You can also play other cards like these helper cards, such as Good Review and Got a Raise, and these are cards that allow you to roll extra dice after you roll your initial cooking roll with your chef. The other cards that you can play on yourself are cooks. This is the only way that you can roll the dice to earn meals to satisfy your tables. If you don't have a cook in play, you cannot roll the dice, you cannot earn meals, and you can't get your tips. The other cards you can play on yourself are trainees and robo cooks, things like that. These are called helper cards. These must have a cook equipped in order for them to be useful. So in RoboCook's case, you'll roll 2 dice for this one-eyed cook, and then after that, RoboCook will have an auto cook ability that'll let you automatically gain 1 extra meal without rolling the dice. Whereas this trainee will just let you roll 1 extra dice after your cooking roll. Now, if the dice say fired on this cooking roll here, it's not going to affect you getting rid of your cook. There are also cards that your opponents can play on you, or you can play on your opponents as well, and these are customer cards. These cards are really bad for you to get, but there is a way to stop them. So essentially, when they play this card, the player loses a turn, and then they can take over your table, or you can take over theirs if you play it against your opponent. It can be stopped by rolling 2 dice, and if both dice say meal, this customer is satisfied, and then you place 2 meals on your table. If you only get 1 meal, like I just did here, then this card takes effect. I'll lose my turn, and my table gets stolen. Now, the table that's stolen from me will replace the table that the current player has, and if they don't have one, they'll just take it over, meals included. So there are some cards that can stop this sort of action from happening, such as the cool off or the smoothed out or the simmer down cards, and this will stop the customer cards from coming into effect. In case you miss the dice roll, you can play that instead, or you can play that first and just not even chance the dice roll. You'll also have cards that will take your cook. Meat Grinder will make you discard your cook, but they can place 2 meals on their table. The Better Offer card is going to be a card that just straight up steals a cook and replaces my cook with the one I just stole. And Thief will allow me to take the kitchen supply cards that were here that stops these red cards. I probably didn't. These are the red cards, in case I didn't show them earlier. So each of these red cards has a -2. So for example, if I had this cook that rolls 2 dice, this -2 card for my next roll will make me lose the ability to roll for this evil cook on my next turn. Then it will go away. Some of these say on each turn, which means they're permanent, and this one takes away 1 die. But if I play gloves, I'll get rid of this card. If I play shoes, I'll get rid of the wet floor card. And if I play the first aid kit, I'll get rid of the mixed up card. Or it prevents them from being played on me in the first place if I play these first. Some cards like this don't have a symbol on them, which means that none of the kitchen supplies will prevent them. So you can still have cards like this played on you. You just have to kind of be careful. If you play any of these cards and someone is trying to steal your cook, for example, the Better Offer, you can play Counter Offer to stop that and it'll keep the cook. Or you can play If I Can't Have Him, No One Can, and you'll just outright shoot the cook and kill him. That's how it works. So on my turn, I'd look at my hand. First thing I would play is a cook for myself, and then I would play a customer card on someone else if they had a table out or whatever the case is. Or actually, I would play the wet floor card. That way they can guarantee to roll 2 less dice on their next turn. So that would go to my opponent. Then I would draw back up to 5 cards. Now that my hand is full, I'd then draw a table card, table side up. If I flip it, that's going to show me the tips that I get to earn for that table. Now these tips don't get earned until I satisfy this number in the center. So I'll play this here. That satisfies the rest of my turn. And now that I've got a table and a cook, I can then roll the dice. And this one tells me I can roll 2. So I'll roll the dice. Both dice say meal, so I'll get 1 meal for each one that says that. Now, if I happen to roll these dice and, damn, that's actually pretty good, and one says fired and one says meal, I'm okay. I can still get the meal, though. Now, if I roll this dice and both say fired, I have to discard my cook, and I can't do anything else for the rest of that turn. Now, when it comes back to me, I can't roll the dice anymore to satisfy the meal requirements for this table unless I have another cook played out. And if I don't, then I can't do anything. Now, in this case, I would already have the cards that I needed, so I wouldn't even pull that now. I would play a card here to skip a person's turn, and maybe play a jetpack on myself, so when I get a cook, I can use this for an extra roll. Now, if my cook is discarded, this card has to go away as well, by the way. The helpers, such as the trainees here, they stay until someone takes it from you or you're forced to discard it. The purple cards, they go away when the cook is gone or after you do the roll on it. So now I'll pull back up to 2, and this time I have 2 cooks that I pulled, but because my turn is already over from playing, I can't play these cooks now. The other thing is I already have a meal card in play, so I can't draw another one. So the way my turn would go is on the next round, I would hopefully not get skipped, and then I would play my cook and try to satisfy the table. Once you satisfy a table's meal requirements, you then flip the card to its tip side, and on your next go around, you would play cards, and then draw a new meal card, or table card rather. Then you'd satisfy those, and then you'd flip it. So in other words, you can only have 1 table card in play, you can only have 1 trainee attached to your cook, and 1 cook in play at a time as well. No more than that. If a cook gets discarded, or you see someone with a better cook that rolls more dice than you do, you can steal that cook, but it'll have to replace yours. If you steal someone's table because they're closer to finishing, you'll have to replace your table with their table. That's the rules of the game. Those are the cards you can play with, and that's Cooking Customers. Like I said, 2 to 5 players, 20 to 40 minutes. Pretty simple game, really fun to play and get really competitive. So check it out. Hope you enjoy it.